let me ask you this. Do you think Thar could have done a decent number in theaters, or would it have gone like a Bhavesh Joshi or a Lamheve? I have friends that kind of are like-minded, and at least I think that they're like-minded, and they watch like films from all over the world, but they're like, dude, Welcome is just, it's something else. It's a masterpiece.
They tell me, I said, थोड़ा सा उसको बोल यार, थोड़ा commercial करने के लिए यार कुछ.
Simba with Harshvardhan Kapoor. Hello, everyone. Thank you again for, first of all, an honor and a privilege, and congratulations for Thar and the positive reception that it's getting. So welcome to the channel. So yeah, it's an honor.
Thanks, Jamie, for having us. This is I've been really looking forward to actually being able to interact with you after so long.
No, long overdue. I've been waiting for this as well. So first of all, I just wanted to touch upon something that I saw today, because Harsh, you put something on Instagram. So correct me if I'm wrong, it can be one or two or both things. So with respect to this project, is it a passion project that people were not receptive to co-producing just because of how unique it is in terms of treatment and what you wanted? Or did you and Raj sir wanted to keep it safe with you so that it doesn't get muddled in the process when it is made?
I think it was a combination of the film being quite subversive and different to traditional Indian films, Bollywood films. And unfortunately, my last film at the time was Bhavesh Joshi, which had not done well at the box office at the time. So, and this was 2017. So this was before the whole streaming thing had really taken off and kicked off. And so the whole OTT world hadn't exploded. The pandemic hadn't happened. The whole world was different, it feels like, almost. So, I think that there were multiple challenges. We were trying to force fit it in for theatrical. There was it was a songless film. It was quite a violent film. There was sex in the film. There was a protagonist that didn't speak much. That wasn't kind of, doing a lot of bravado or wasn't very external or larger than life. So it really was, I think, the last film that any producer in Bollywood wanted to produce for all of those reasons. And we, Raj and I, wanted to make it more or less exactly the way that we had, that Raj had written it, and that I had kind of joined him on, with that vision.
Anil sir, from all the conversations that I've heard with you and Harsh, you can correct me if I'm wrong, probably your cinematic tastes are different from him. I just wanted to ask you, like, when he pitched the movie to you, was it an instant yes, or did it take a lot of convincing?
It was not an instant yes, to be honest with you. It took a lot of it convincing. And then Raj and Harsh ultimately convinced me to do it.
Nice. I think, what's clear from the reception of the movie is that everyone's resonated with how it visually looks. I think everyone's looking at Shreya Dev Dubey's work now and like what she's done previously as well. Not only with how she's like captured the locations, but how she's captured the characters also with natural elements. Raj sir, could you like expand upon like, was that very important on how the Western gets translated well in terms of its visual grammar?
Yeah, absolutely. Because when we set out, we were very clear in the genre that we were making the film in. And for me, it was also very, it was clear that it was very organically fitting into the world we were creating. Like, if you see a lot of Western film, the landscapes, the faces of the local population, it's very, very uncannily similar to that part of Rajasthan and I've seen that since I was a child. So so that genre, and then obviously the way we shot the film, the way we visualized the film, and the way Shreya captured the film lent itself to the genre beautifully. And now when we look at the film, it is there, it is, everything is there, and it's come together beautifully. What we set out to do, what we visualized, what we planned, it's come together well, very well, in fact. So.
No, that really translates well in the final product as well. Sir, Anil sir, I wanted to tell you that while I was doing the review for the film, I was like researching about Westerns in Hindi cinema. and I came across you as a badass horse riding in Joshile in one of the crazy sequences with Sunny Deol. So you definitely fit the world perfectly. So it wasn't anything new for you.
That was my first, we set out to make a Western.
Yeah.
And of course, unfortunately, it wasn't the way we really ultimately, there was no Harshvardhan there to, to be there to constantly fight and make the dream happen, come to light. So we all were slightly, somewhere I think we let down the content, and we were not really honest with the kind of work which we really we set out to do. All of us, involved in the film. In every project you need someone who really pushes and fights. That's what Harsh did for this film, and I wish he was there in Joshi. So ultimately,
Harsh, was that like an essential component to make sure that the product, how it went on paper, translates on screen? Because you have to be so particular about each and every department.
You know what the coolest thing, Noel, about the script was the atmosphere, the ambience, and the tone of it. You know, so the thing is, when in India traditionally, when you say the word thriller, people expect twists and turns, and a lot of kind of like a very dense plot. Right. But I have always gravitated towards films that are very simplistic in plot. So the characters can really shine and the treatment of the film can really shine, so some of my favorite thrillers are like there's a film called Blue Ruin that I really, really love. Even like some of the old kind of like the Brian De Palma films, like we always associate our films with like really dense plots for thrillers, but I love the fact that it was simplistic. So the treatment, the technical aspects, the characters could really kind of shine. Thar is really more about the journey of how you kind of get there as opposed to what really happens. You know what I mean? And it's and when you make a film like that, it's really about the detail. And the detail was just so well written. Like it's like when you read the script, it's almost like a novel because the visual descriptions are so dense and they're just very, very kind of well. You can feel the heat on your face. You can feel the sand in your toes. You can feel the sweat and the blood when you read it on the page. So I was like, if somebody tries to water this down, it's going to completely backfire. It'll just become like any other thriller, or any other kind of film when we're actually trying to do something very specific. So it's very much, I think Thar is a combination of all of us using our resources for Raj's vision to get him the best of everything so that this kind of film could kind of come to life. And I'm just so thrilled and kind of in disbelief also that people are actually liking it.
Wanted to talk about like the fact that this has been such a good marriage with you and Netflix, and that a film like Thar can have a life of its own with people liking it, having a perspective about it, and it's restricted to that debate. Anil sir, Raj sir, you can please expand on this. Right now, what's happening is with theatrical releases, now the quality of the film takes a second seat because the box office number gets equated to it. And it becomes very dismissive ki if this is the number, then, the film was probably not good. Whereas the OTT space allows the film to have a life of its own where there are discussions and like constant debate about it. So what do you think about this? With Thar especially, I think people are constantly talking about it right now.
I feel with the OTT, the advantage is that usually what used to happen in films is there are certain films which we believed in, we felt that they are good films, and the box office numbers would deflate us. And ultimately, there are a lot of films which got the love after many years, like films like Parinda, 1942, A Love Story, Lame, Nayak, which were in a way not box office point of view, usually successful films like Parinda, they would say, "Khali Bombay mein aur South mein chali hai," 1942 overseas mein sirf chali. Lame is only in overseas. Nayak, the kind of budgets it had, could have been much bigger, so they would deflate the kind of effort and the kind of films they were. And we found more love after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Now with Avesh, because of OTT, it was just for a few months that they felt, that, okay, it didn't have the box office numbers, but immediately it had an OTT release and it came on OTT and, they got the love within that few months. We had to wait for 5 and 10 and 20 years sometime to find that kind of love. So that is a difference. My only worry is, to a certain extent, even with OTT, to a certain extent now, is I hope that they also don't get into the trap of, to a certain extent, the numbers. Because of what happens is there are so many things which are, which are not being seen, but slowly and steadily, there is a lot of influence and a lot of pressure on, people who are running on behalf of the, of the people, the bigger investors, and they have to give the numbers. And then slowly and steadily, they also start
shifting their focus.
Shifting and trying to do things, and ultimately losing that. I was trying to explain to them also, you have to not get, you'll also keep up the, encourage these kind of films and have a balance. Don't get disbalanced. I've done it in my own small way in my career. So that is I hope that, that they make more films and they encourage people like us and like Harsh and Raj to make more films like this.
Sir, you're so right about it. At one point of time, this was this segregation of like these kind of films also having a life of their own. And then I was seeing this new slate of releases happening in the OTT space. And it almost seemed like they were trying to mimic the larger than life theater experience in the OTT space, which they were not originally. So it's almost one mimicking the other rather than staying true to what they stood for initially. It is a scary sight if that becomes the shift.
I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't. And of course, at least we, Harsh, till now has not, has stuck to his conviction. And it's been quite some time, and I hope I also have the, the courage and the capacity as a producer to, whatever he pitches to me, films like Thar, that I can also help, or at least be part of the collaboration with him also, and I will.
So I just to add to that, Anmol, I just feel that Thar is a fantastic marriage of the might of an Anil Kapoor, the conviction of Harsh, and my conviction, and the reach of a Netflix. You know what I'm saying? It's a fantastic marriage. I mean, and this sort of a marriage, I think, augurs very well for cinema and for people like us who want to make films in a certain way. You have all the ingredients, and it just materializes into what Thar has become now.
The trickiest part for me, I think, was your character, and Raj, Harsh, you can like expand upon this, because Siddharth again is mostly like monosyllabic. He speaks in a hushed tone, has very little to say throughout the narrative, but to engage the audience throughout the screenplay while you're following this character becomes a very, very tricky point of view from as creators, as an actor. I wanted to ask, did you have a brief, did you have a reference, and how do you go about his character specifically?
So first of all, I have to thank you, Anmol, for really, I think, so I just want to start by saying that I knew right off the bat that this character was going to be polarizing. Okay, you can't, if you can't be delusional and expect this to receive this particular, because like in AK versus AK or Ray, for example, two other films that you've liked and reviewed well, those characters are much easier to like. You're hyperactive, you're entertaining, you're putting on a performance to capture the imagination, to distract the audience, to kind of win their hearts over. The approach to this character was the drive. The Ryan Gosling reference is great. I watched a lot of Nicholas Winding Refn films, and a lot of westerns as well, but a lot of Winding Refn films, because the one thing that was the most important to me was the mystery and the intrigue. and to be magnetic and be enigmatic without having the room to kind of reveal emotionally your cards, or having huge physical kind of movements, and not doing the typical psycho killer thing, because that's not what the film is. And I think whether it's Ryan Gosling in Drive or Only God Forgives, or Miles Teller in the Amazon show Too Old to Die Young, it just was so exciting for me because they were doing so little. It became about breathing, it became about concentration, it became about stillness. And it's really, really challenging, because we live in a time where we're very anxious and we're responding to our phones, and we're never we can't really commit to one thought, so I've only done 5 films, so I'm very new and I'm still figuring it out, honestly, as I go along. But it's the toughest thing that I've done. And I loved Anu's Miss Anupama Chopra's review, because there was a lot of positivity in there, and all of the things that she said, she was like, I spoke to her after, she said, Harsh, I wish there was more. And I'm like, that's it. As long as you feel that, that's the job has been done, so yeah, it was very tricky, and I knew it was going to kind of divide opinion, but I'm just happy that the people that have got it have kind of got it, you know what I mean? And that makes me really happy.
No, it, I think, translated well also, and exactly, like, the job was done, if that was the criticism also, I think. Anil sir, I also have to say that everyone's been raving about your performance as well, and but there's one moment that really stood out for a lot of people, and I wanted to ask if there was a brief or it was a natural way of reacting. Was your conversation with your wife in the film, where she's like happy with the mediocre life that you're living, and it's almost you have an empty gaze looking at the distance, as if your life's going to end as an inconsequential cop. I wanted to ask you, like, that brief of just looking at the distance, what was creating that scene like?
I think it's not the particular scene, it's overall when you do a film, when you work on a character, all these they come very organically. And of course, in your mind, you have made a graph, and you just hope and pray that it happens that day. You cannot plan it. Like, it's like going on a pitch. You might be the best, or you might be well prepared, and you have prepped the whole day and you have really practiced, but you might go completely wrong on that day. So I think I was just fortunate that it just happened. And but you have to be very very committed and very pure to what you're trying to convey, and what you want to do for the character. I think everything it was lit beautifully, it was written well, and the whole I think I was in the correct
space
to and it came, and I'm happy that I have done so many films. I've never, it's been absolutely overwhelming.
And deservedly so as well. I wanted to also just, Anil sir, ask you, this is because you're here also, I wanted to understand your perception of the current space, which is right now you're seeing the return of the angry young man of the 70s on this larger than life cinema that's being presented in theaters. Do you think it's a phase that oscillates, or there's now a clear segregation of the understated subtle hero in the OTT space, and one that is sort of demanded for on the big screen?
To be honest with you, I don't really go so deep into analyzing things. I just go with the flow.
ज्यादा सोच रहा है तू कुछ नहीं हो रहा
मैं इतना सोचता नहीं यार I am those scripts are pitched to me, and I just do it instinctively, I don't see what is running and what is not running, what works and what doesn't work. I don't really, in my entire 40 years of my career, I've never really looked at that. I don't even read reviews. Harsh reads everything, so I don't know what the
Anmol, let me ask you. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If I mean, Thar has come out on Netflix and it's open to largely positive reviews, and
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the thing is, even Dad and you had that beautiful question about the OTT space, and Dad's answer about how they're trying to also do the larger than life thing
Yeah.
on OTT. So I also keep telling Netflix and stuff that I'm not so much so interested in the first 72 hours. What are the numbers for Thar?
Yeah.
Like, let's talk around Diwali. You know what I mean? Let the
Yeah.
views kind of accumulate over a period of time.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure people will keep discovering the film if the word of mouth is good online. But let me ask you this. Do you think Thar could have done a decent number in theaters, or would it have gone like a Bhavesh Joshi or a Lamhe way?
So see, I don't want to become like Komal Nath or Taran Adarsh here and like tell you exactly what would have happened. But
You want to be Anil Kapoor.
I have to be Anil Kapoor ki main zyada nahi dikhta aur chal jata hai to chal jata hai. But I have to say right now it's been really like the understated subtle stories just are not working in theaters. And I, sir, have connected to so many stories which have just not done well or connected with the masses, and they're looking forward to like the hooting and cheering and the screenplay for that roaring BGM to kick in and that slow motion entry to happen. So that's what the flavor is right now. So I am very happy for Thar existing on Netflix and it having a great discussion and reception online. It deserves that. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. Lastly, I just wanted to ask Anil sir, I wanted to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot. So if there was, see, Harsh has done 5 films and they're all, now he's creating a sort of a reputation for himself for his eccentric, unique choices. And everyone's talking about, the kind of films that he seeks out for. What I saw a discussion between both of you where you were like, ek din aayega where you might falter and you should be ready for that. Every time it won't, work out as a great product. There has to be like ebbs and flows in this career. So what would be like, say, one thing that he should know in the future ahead of the kind of work he's going to do?
I think, of course, there's obviously, I always tell him that there's so much, even he also accepts it, that there's so much to learn and so much to grow. And, for me, it becomes sometimes awkward dealing with my, people who, are my well-wishers, and, they tell me, I said, thoda sa usko bol yaar, thoda commercial karne ke liye yaar, kuch.
Simba with Harshvardhan Kapoor.
But there is a discussion that, more likable kind of roles, what happens. And when I discuss with Harsh and when I speak to him, I'm more and more convinced that he's on the right track. He's on the right track. And I would back him to the end for that. At least I'll try my best. It's tough. I'm being very honest with you. It's tough. It takes a toll on me. But I will do my best to encourage him to, that he carries on this. And I hope, that obviously there will be sometimes when things will not work out. And but I think he's quite intelligent and smart to know, at least till now, that he's chosen. Till now, the filmmakers who have chosen him to a certain extent, and the scripts which he has chosen till now have gone absolutely. It's like I almost say they're almost bang on, And whatever next few things which he has in his mind, again, are tough stories which he wants to and always, of course, and they're not that I've pitched them, he has pitched to me. And and he's trying his best that and we'll talk about it when they really are when you're ready for an interview, and we'll talk about those 2, 3 stories which he has in mind.
100%.
Which are, one of them is already in pre-production, and hopefully would start. And there is Raj is working on something.
Yeah, Raj is writing something.
That's why I have not heard it yet.
Oh.
How Hatrangi it is.
No, it's going to be great, I'm sure. But I have to say, nothing's funnier than sir, you asking Harsh, welcome ka kya le raha? It's like, not,
you saw that?
Harsh is like, not my jam.
Where is it? I want to see it. Yeah.
On Netflix, it's hilarious.
Is it out?
On YouTube. Yeah, it's out.
It's out. Okay. It's out. Okay, I'm dying.
You know, but it's Anmol, it's crazy because I have friends that kind of are like-minded, and at least I think that they're like-minded, and they watch like films from all over the world, but they're like, dude, Welcome is just it's something else. It's a masterpiece, and I'm just I can't.
Harsh, you just don't see it.
But Welcome,
I don't see it. Maybe I'm not evolved enough.
No, Welcome 1 has been appreciated by everybody. Welcome 2 was not as appreciated as
No, the first one's a classic, sir.
Yeah,
undeniable.
yeah.
Undeniable.
But that also, I feel like certain films, everything came together.
Yeah.
It's like that. Everything just came together. It was not that we knew that this is going to happen.
Harsh, I think probably a rewatch will help you.
Yeah. I need to get into the nuances.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. This was a great discussion, and I can't wait to share it with the public. I think they deserve it as well. And congratulations again on Thar. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Anmol.